Hi friends. Okay, so we're horizontal today because my thing's plugged in, and the reason I mention this is because now I'm going to be looking at myself, and it's not going to look like I'm looking at you, and I find that very distracting. So I apologize for not looking directly at you because I'm obsessed with my own face. I'm coming on here. I was in the middle of prayer, and something occurred to me. Excuse me, a thought I wanted to share. Of course, now that's probably gone. But what was I saying? So, well, another thought that I was having. I was praying, and surrender. It had to do with surrender. I was praying. I was saying, I surrender to you. Surrender is such a hard thing to do sometimes. We have this impression that we are in control of anything. The only thing we're in control of is ourselves, right? So it's easy when you're in your comfort zone and things around you are relatively stable. But when things kind of go off the thing, go off the road. Just 1 second. Okay. When the train comes off the tracks and it's not the way you want it, you planned for it, or you thought it was going to be something. I'm thinking about my housing situation. I need some of my hands. They are very, very dry. Hang on. Is there a present everywhere? I've got Van Morrison in my head. What was I thinking? So I was thinking with this thing, right? So I gotta be out of my house by the 31st. And I doubt I'm gonna find a place to rent. But you know what? I don't know what's gonna happen. There's very, in a mainstream idea of things, it would be very difficult for me to find some place to rent, because of, my employment status, and which is I'm self-employed, but I don't have a regular income. That's changing though. And sorry, dealing with a little anxiety. And that's why I'm here talking about surrender, because when you surrender, there's nothing to be anxious about. Not really. I mean, you can still want things a certain way, but it's not something that you do. Surrender is not something you do and then you're done. You have to choose to surrender every moment, which when you are learning it is like excruciating. I mean, it's not, I've been able to do it many times before in life, right? Especially like with my finances. I've just been like, you know what? I don't know. I came to a point, as I was coming out of my depression, where I recognized that I had no control over anything. And if I did, I would have got myself out of the situation that I was in, financially and all that stuff. And I recognized that I had no idea what I was doing, and that I needed help, and I didn't know where to turn. And that's when I'm like, okay, God, like this. It's in those moments where I kind of threw up my hands, and I'm like, I quit. I quit trying to control this. I quit trying to make this better or to mold it into what I want it to be, because that's just stupid. I can't, and I have to admit that and rely on the universe to fix it. There's nothing to fix really, but there's to rely that the universe is working for our good, even if we don't know it in the moment. But so this idea of surrender, in this situation that I'm in, I am, I have to leave the house, and 29 days, 30 days, 29 days. And I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know where I'm going to go. I just know that I have to be out of here. And there's nothing I can do about it. I mean, I do my best. I'm obviously going to pack up the house, and I really think the best option for me would be to find a multifamily that will cash flow enough when I'm in it, so that the mortgage is paid, and all related expenses are paid. That is the ideal for me right now. And the universe kicked me in the ass about 4 or 5 months ago and told me to do this, but I didn't start then, and that's okay, because I'm learning. The universe, if you're open to her taking the reins, even when you do things that go against that idea, she'll come back around and grab you. For instance, the whole thing with my black eye, right? Like, I now know what intuition sounds like, what it feels like. It feels like that thing in my head that said, open your eyes, before I bent over and almost lost an eye. So I'm learning these things, and for, there's this one client that we have that's been he's just been a PIA, right? Like, it's been very difficult, and he pressured me to do a lot in a short amount of time, because he was in a rush and time was of the essence, and blah 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 blah. And we gave him a bunch of, a huge discount, like $2,500 off, and like 5 or 6 different thoughts will enter my head at once, and not only is 1 or 2 of them a little stressful, but all of them coming in at once, and that's what they do all the time, it can get stressful too. The virtues of focus, everyone. So, but what I'm learning with this client, he's this rough, tough New Yorker, that would be easy to feel a little intimidated by my old self. But I'm learning to stand up for myself, and I'm learning to set boundaries. When I found out that he didn't actually, he was really, 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 really on me. Let's meet again this week. Let's meet, this is of the time is of the essence. I have to get this out here. Blah 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 blah. So he got, and it's my fault. He got a good 4 months of work out of me in the space of 3 weeks. Totally my fault for doing that. But I really wanted to serve. I was like, okay, well, this is got to be done quickly. And then there's just more and more and more and more to it, until finally I said, this is too much. This is way beyond the scope of what we agreed to. And either you pay $9,000 and we extend the deadline for 4 months, or that's it. And he was like, okay, yeah, I'll pay, and the deadline's fine. It's oh, you're not in a rush. You have 4 months. You have 6 months to. Okay. And then I was gonna say 9 in the renegotiation. But Walter was like, will you do it for $7,500? And I should have said no. I should have been like, you know what? I think it's a matter of staying in the moment, knowing self-worth and self-respect, for one, knowing what it is you're going into and what your objectives are, and what objections you could come up against. I didn't expect Walter to go down to $7,500, so I felt pressure to go down there, because he's my business partner and he's the guy who knows about business and blah blah blah. But if I had been present, I would have stopped for a second, taken a deep breath, and I would have said, no, he's gonna pay the money. He's gonna pay $9,000. I would have said that, or at least go down to like $8,000. You know, like no, he's gonna pay more. He's gonna pay more. So now he's like, today he was almost laughing at me. We had a meeting today, and I started off and I was like, okay, so I want to set some expectations here. You know, you're paying what my other clients pay. You're gonna get the treatment my other clients get. So that's once a week we meet, and it's a half an hour interview. And we started the interview, and really we only have like 2 interviews worth of stuff to do because I did it all already. And he's like, oh, it's already done, so blah, 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 blah. What's my next step? And I'm like, well, the next step is editing. Guess who's in charge of that? Guess how long that takes? You're not getting your book anytime soon, buddy. Sorry. No, that was like, and that's a lesson to me, not to let myself be pushed around, to make the scope of a project very clear, and to be aware when it goes past that, and set my boundaries and say, no, this is what we agreed to, and if you want something more, you're gonna pay. It's a long story. I won't go into it, but I mean, it's just one thing led into another, and it was so fun until like I turned around and I'm like, are you shitting me? No. How are you shitting me? No. So I'm learning to set boundaries there, which is really good. I'm kind of off topic now, but the idea there, I guess, is that the universe gives us what we need when we need it, and it's obviously because we're looking through to the universe through our own eyes and what we see and need to see. You know, what are the things that we pay attention to, and what are the things that we focus, and how do we let her work in our lives? So right now I've been, the past couple of months, I've been going back and forth between like surrendering and being like, I truly want to surrender, because you know what? I'm going to be fine. Like, no matter what happens in the next couple of weeks, I'll be fine. I might not like where I am, but I can trust that it's the right place for me to be. And when I start thinking about, okay, like, well, what if I'm here and then I'm going to do this and I'm going to I start spinning out. And you know what? Like, that's just not useful for anybody. Like, I'm realizing that more and more. You know, like, I'm trying to plan for it in the future. Like, okay, well, if I have to, you know, put all my stuff in storage and go stay here for a few months, well, oh my God. And then I start getting into this idea of like, oh my God, it's never going to end, and blah, 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 blah. And that's just not useful. It's not useful. It makes things worse. And another thing that I want to just draw your attention to. So we know that I see energy, right? I'm going to stop being like, oh, it's so weird. I know it's weird, because it's what it's happening. I see it, especially when my eyes are closed. I see it very clearly. There's a lot of colors, and I also get pictures. Sometimes it's just patterns, evolving patterns, and sometimes it's like pictures. And a lot of times it'll be pictures of something that I was just looking at. For instance, I was downstairs looking at shoes on the online, and that's because I need shoes for my wedding dress, and then, you know, I'm not going to spend more than like $30 on them, so don't judge me. I'm judging me, unless I can figure out shoes that I have. And you know what, there might be a pair of shoes that I have that I can wear. Let's go with that. It's just been so long since I wore actual, like, woman's shoes. I usually just have sneakers and boots on. Anyway, way off topic. Energy moves with your thoughts immediately. It's not even like you think go and it's like go. It's as you are thinking go, it is going. It is. I mean, it's not even obeying your thoughts. It is your and the energy of your thought. I mean, we're all one. It's just insane. It's like, not insane, but I mean, like, insane in a cool way. That's what it is. It's just like, it blows my mind. It's just, anyway, but I get these pictures, and this is happening in your brain too. This isn't just my brain. It's just I can see it. I'm aware of it. And it really is very important, the pictures that you put in your head and the things that you're thinking. Thoughts do become things. If I expect this to go one way, that's the way it'll go, because that's how I'll behave, and that's the result I'll get. If I expect it to go in another way, I might not get that result. See, this is the certainty uncertainty thing, right? Like, I know that there's a series of actions that I could do that I know for sure where I would be at the end of the month. I don't want to be there, though. That's not a place where I want to be. I just know that it's safe. But I know that that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. I know that I'm supposed to be taking action, and that whatever happens in the universe, it's going to be good. I know that. Things are falling away. The house is falling away, and I'm marrying myself, and it's the start of new beginnings, and it's just, it's the end of a long journey and the beginning of a new one. Like a long journey. And I can get myself, see, this is the thing, you have to also be able to raise your own vibrations, right? Because you get down and low. Another thing, I know I'm going all over the place right now, but another thing is the energy inside of us, some of it actually does really physically pull you down. I just want you guys to know these things as truth. You hear, oh, okay, this thing is getting me down, it's pulling me down. It physically pulls you down. It's a pull on you down. Just letting you know. That's what this energy does. Energy's amazing. I want to go to bed soon, but the point that I wanted to make was surrender and boundaries and keeping your vibes up. There was something else I wanted to say too, but I don't remember. Anyway. Oh yeah, I do. So I discovered recently, as I'm trying to take all this gunk, energetic gunk out of my body, just like sticky, just pulling it, right? And sometimes it goes, sometimes it comes back, and whatever. What I realized the other day was that I'm the one keeping it there. It just I knew it, but it just dawned on me in a different way. It's like, this stuff isn't just there that I have to get rid of. I'm the one holding it there. And the minute not even the minute, at the time that I thought that, I felt things start to loosen. It's a crazy feeling, guys. It's a crazy feeling. It's amazing. So what I ended up doing, I came to this sort of mantra, chant, I don't know, I don't really know, but I'm the one, this is how, I've said this, I think we've gone over this in a couple of past videos, but I just want to, I'm realizing this more to a different depth. I'm the one holding this here. I refuse to hold on to this any longer. I release you. I choose to let go. Those are the words I've been saying to myself over and over again to get rid of this energy, to release this energy that is still stuck in me. And when it comes out, guys, the feeling of space that I have is just unbelievable. But I'm exhausted because I stayed up late all last night playing with the energy. So tonight I'm not going to do that. I'm not. But as I've been going through the day, saying this to myself, I'm the one that's holding this here. I refuse to hold on to it any longer. I release you. I choose to let go. As things have come up that have disturbed me in the day, I've connected the two. This is maybe something I should talk about tomorrow too, but I won't remember, so I'm just going to remember to do it right now. And if I remember it tomorrow, great. I connected the two of them at a different level. The idea of I'm the one holding this here, and it's not just the energy, because the energy is the experience. It's the tension. It's the focus that got me stuck in whatever moment that created whatever that energy sludge is. Just, gunk. I mean, it's fascinating. It's like, wow. But as I said this throughout the day, it took on a different meaning in the sense of, this is not just about energy that I'm talking about. I'm talking about anything that is happening in my reality, right? And one of the things I listened to Michael Singer, and it's always the thing that I need to hear. But he was talking about letting things pass through, just the whatever. I don't remember the exact thing that he was saying, but it all points to the fact that, so like with the Brahm thing, I can choose to let go of that. I'm holding on to that. That was one of it's like, I am holding on to this. I am the one doing this. I am holding on to this. And as much as I love him, it's causing me pain and it doesn't do any good. So today I started, like, whenever that would come up, I'd say, I am the one holding this here. I refuse to hold it any longer. I release you. I choose to let go. And I said that whenever Brahm came into my head. The thing is, too, I also said it when, like, other things came into my head that were really bothering me, like that would strike me emotionally. I was thinking about something I wanted to say to someone that, when you have in your head, you're like, oh, I'm so right on this, and I could say it like this, and they'd be like, oh, there's nothing they could do though, because I'm right and they're wrong, right? That's the conversation I was having in my head over and over again, because that's what we do, right? We not only have conversations that we haven't had yet, or conversations that we had before, we keep improving upon them. And then you never end up having that conversation. Very rarely end up having that conversation anyway. So you spend all this time not in yourself, completely out of the moment, missing your life. Not what I want to do. So as I started feeling myself getting angry, like, and it was me. I mean, we know this, but like, just I want to point this out. It was me stirring myself up. It was hard not to go with that though, right? It's hard not to. It does suck you, and that's something Michael Singer talks about. Like, it sucks you back down. It wants you to come down. It's just, and it was. I was having a hard time not doing this conversation, because you get something out of the conversation. You're like, it's a release of the energy, right? It's a release of the anger or whatever frustration that you're feeling. But I was also stirring myself up, and it was just a cycle. But I was finding it hard not to. But then I realized, like, you know what? I can apply this here. Like, where is this? Okay, this is hitting my blockage. Like, yes, that person was wrong, but that hasn't, it really, me doesn't have to do with that person. What this has to do with is how I'm feeling and the blockages that it's hit. So what are those blockages? And I need to let them go. So I sat there and I thought, whenever like the feeling of anger would come in, I found, because it does, these feelings exist in parts of your body. They do. Whether you notice it or not. And so I choose to try and notice it. So when I'm sitting there and I'm feeling this anger and frustration, I feel it like in here and down my arms and stuff like that. And wherever it was tight, you loosen. But like I said, like, I'm the one choosing to hold this here. I refuse to hold it any longer. I refuse to hold on to it any longer. I release you. I release it. I choose to let go. And I said that several times during the day today, both with the friend I was having an issue with, sorry, and this that was probably really attractive, and this client that I'm having boundary issues with. Rather than getting really angry when I feel the shift start to happen and it hits something, because it does, it comes in and it's like, it hits you. If you're paying attention, you will see that it hits you. It's a physical energy that hits you, right? It's the energy. It's so strange. It's the energy of the event, the person's energy, whatever. So it comes in and it hits you, and that tenses up. But what you can choose to do in that moment is not to tense up. It's to let go. You just have to be aware of it when it's happening. Sorry, I'm just. So those are the things I wanted to talk about before I forgot. Hopefully tomorrow during Untethered Fridays, I'm going to try to remember to discuss in more detail what I just talked about. Because right now I'm just really tired. But I'm going to bed. So what we want to do before we go to bed is put ourselves in a really good frame of mind, and higher the vibrations so you have wonderful restful sleep, and be grateful, pray, be grateful, meditate, whatever you do. Yeah, so I'm gonna go to bed and I'm gonna dream of my multifamily house that pays for itself when I'm living in there, and all related costs, maintenance, taxes, everything pays for it all, and I get to live there for free. And that's the place where I'm going to go to next. So I'm really looking forward to that, though. I mean, honestly, just for my own self right now, to my own sake, to sort of get me up a little bit. Like, having that would mean that I have a place to live always. And the idea of having a place that I feel that's stable, you know what I mean? Like, because I have moved around every few years since I was 18, right? Because then I was like going to school, and then I went home, but then I went to Europe, and then I went to another place in Europe, and then I came back to a different place in Europe, and I came back here, and then I'm living in Cambridge, and I'm living here, blah 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 blah, living in different places. The longest place I've stayed was with the Brahm for 3 years. I am holding on to this. I refuse to hold on to it any longer. I release it. I choose to let go. I highly recommend you. That's working for me. So take that if that works for you, because you are the one holding it. It's just the physical representation of the energy really made me realize that. Like, oh, I'm holding this here, but not just this. This isn't just this energy sledge. The energy sledge is from the things that I'm holding. It's just, it's mind blowing. Anyway, this place that I'm gonna live, where I have my own apartment, I have my own office, I've got at least one bedroom for guests or whoever, and I live. It's a 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a multiplex. It could be. I don't care. Whatever it is, I'm happy, as long as it pays for itself when I live there, and all related expenses. We got to be very specific. So I'm gonna go to bed thinking about what that'll feel like when I have a place that I know is mine, and I can be like, that's. I mean, I've never wanted a forever home, but I do want a place where I can put my stuff. And where I know if I don't have a home somewhere else, I can come back to, and it will be mine. Like, that is, things are moving up. I can feel like that's a great feeling. And then also knowing, just like having the financial stability of that, of owning this property. Like, I'm gonna think about that. Because you're supposed to think about the thing, like, how's it going to make you feel to have? And I've been thinking, like, oh, it'll be nice to have a house. No, what does that mean? The house is actually security. Because I mean, I like to go all over. I like to try different things and whatever. But and if you don't have some sort of security, it can be difficult. You can choose. I can choose to to not let it stress me out. But I can also choose to think about how great it's going to be when I have it. And that will call it to me, because not only does thoughts, like, guys, I'm 100% down now with the idea that your ideas actually manifest things. I'm down with that idea. I get it now. So I'm going to lay to bed and just think about how awesome it's going to be, how secure I'm going to feel. I never have to worry about where I'm going to live or if I'm going to have money. I mean, sure, maybe not cash flow, but I'll have a place to live where I don't have to pay rent. So I don't have to worry about making money to pay rent. I'm very excited about that. I'm very excited about that. So that's going to be awesome. I have more to say, but like, it's just, I've been going on for a while now, but I started calling people. Talk about this tomorrow. Talk about it tomorrow. Because it's making me nervous anyway. So I'm going to think about my, do you like my nails? I went with my 13-year-old niece to get mani-pedis the other day. That was her Christmas present. It was really fun. So I'm going to be grateful for the future that I am grateful. I am really, really grateful for the house, the multifamily house that I own, that is paid for while I live there, with the rent from the mortgage and all. I know I keep saying this. I'm going to keep saying it because it's going to be real. It is real. I got to keep saying it. Keep saying it, right? Think it, feel it. It's going to be amazing, and I'm grateful for it already. I'm starting to get this thing where they say you got to be grateful for it before it happens. I am grateful for it. And I'm starting, things are freeing up. I just keep going on and on and on, don't I? But things are opening up, and they're freeing up, and there's more space, and I do feel lighter. It's really wonderful. Anyway, that is what I have to say. So I am very, very grateful for something that is coming and has already happened in my mind. But this, as linear time goes on, the unfolding of it, I'm very grateful, even though in the face of uncertainty, because even if the universe isn't like, okay, you get a house that's paid for, etc., etc., even if that's not where she puts me, I know that where she puts me is going to be the right place. And in the meantime, why not just think it's going to be in a house that I own, that pays for itself, where I know that I always have a place to live. Yeah, I'm going to think about that. So I'm going to encourage you guys to not only be grateful for what you have, but grateful for the things that you have in the future. Call them to you. So that's what I have to say about that. And I'll see you tomorrow for Untethered Friday and Untethered Talk, because those my Fridays are my Untethered Fridays. Yep. So I'm grateful for the house that I own in the future. But right now, and I'm grateful for it. So I remind you guys that you can't always choose to have a grateful night.